Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, something is slowly developing concerning Matiangi, Fred Matiangi. Fred Matiangi wants to become the president of the Republic of Kenya, but we all know that the opposition has not settled on a candidate. Rigathi wants to become the president. Matiangi wants to become the president. Eugene Omala wants to become the president. Carlos Obsioka wants to become the president. And Martha Karua also wants to become the president. And even Justin Muturi. But there's a main reason why Standard newspaper is telling us that something is being launched against Matiangi. A war against Matiangi. So what is this war against Matiangi and what is it all about? Of course, if there's a war against Matiangi, it's because maybe the government has realized that Matiangi is the person who can beat William Samoei Ruto. Now that this has been confirmed from the Standard newspaper and also a posting that Maverick Aoko shared. So allow me to take you through this posting from Maverick Aoko, because Maverick has shared that Standard newspaper, and on the front cover of the Standard newspaper, there's a headline there that war against Matiangi. And on the front cover again, you see Ruto facing Matiangi, and then there are some words there which I'm going to take you through. But first and foremost, let me take you through this posting from Maverick Aoko and why she believes that there is a war against Matiangi. She says, confidential polls by NIS and a UK firm hired showed Matiangi is the man to beat. Another I saw has Ruto at 21% despite the bribes. Matiangi 18% na hajaanza campaign. Kalonzo 11, Raila 4, Karua 1, Rigathi 4, Natembea 6%. Usikie Ruto halali. Chinkororo the 6th. And then she shared this Standard newspaper on your screen. Just check that newspaper, just look at it. So on the front cover there, you can see Ruto na Matiangi wanaangaliana, and the face of William Ruto is telling it all. I mean, from this Standard newspaper. So there's some words there which I'm going to take you through. But first and foremost, before I take you through the words, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, allow me to appreciate you for the support you've been giving this channel ever since we started. If you wish to support us, simply like this video and subscribe to our channel if you are not subscribed before. Once again, thank you so much for that support. So the Standard newspaper is telling us that former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiangi's declaration 4 months ago that he will run for president in 2027 has clearly struck a nerve in President William Ruto's camp. Behind the scenes, a covert plan is in motion with state machinery rolled out, senior civil servants flexing power, money changing hands, and threats issued, all aimed at clipping Matiangi's rising stature in Nyanza and across the country. So that's just a summary of what has been posted on the Standard newspaper. So if you are keen on the words there, then you agree with me that there is a massive campaign that has been launched against Matiangi. Of course, government bloggers will be quick to dispute this statement from the Standard, because most of the time these days, whenever Standard posts a message, they react. The likes of Itumbi, they always react and tell us that the Standard should pay its employees first. In fact, there's a time the Duale was one of the CSS in Ruto's government who was quick to react to the Standard. And the Standard had published a lot of SHA stories. So Duale quickly reminded the Standard, the team there, to first of all pay employees before they can, they can start talking about the government. They can start poking holes on the government affairs. They should first of all pay employees. Of course, there's a time there were some issues about payment. I don't know about now, but there was some issues there which came up concerning the payments. So, but in this analysis, our focus is not on the Standard employees and the payment. Our focus is on this that Maverick Aokas shared, the Standard newspaper. Now, come to think of this, Matiangi is the one to beat. He's the man to beat, yes. He was fronted by Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, so Jubilee has fronted Matiangi. Matiangi is part of a united opposition, the principles there. Of course, just like I told you, they have not settled on someone, but they are going to settle on someone. But Rigathi Gachagua also has thrown his weight behind this presidential bid. So he wants to become the president. And he can vie because looking at what was shared concerning his legal avenues, we are told that Rigathi Gachagua is still has not exhausted all the legal avenues matters his impeachment. So the case is still out there in the courts. So he can still vie, just like in 2013, Ruto and Uhuru vied for as a president. Uhuru vied as a presidential candidate, despite the fact that he was ICC suspect. So this is giving Rigathi Gachagua that indication that he can as well vie. Now, on to Matiangi. Matiangi has been talked by so many people. So many people consider Matiangi as the best bet for this bid to unseat William Ruto, but there are people still consider Rigathi Gachagua as the best bet for unseating William Ruto. There are people who think the best person to unseat William Ruto is Kalonzo Musyoka, because Kalonzo Musyoka hana corruption, hana scandals, akona experience na amekuwa vice president for a whole term. So most people consider Kalonzo Musyoka as the best person to beat William Ruto. But is that the case? You see, Matiangi can also beat William Ruto if the campaigns are launched and he does his campaigns well, put money on the ground. He can still beat William Ruto. Rigathi can also do that, you know. So all these things are possible. So all the candidates in the opposition, I think three candidates they can beat William Ruto. But if this story is true, and considering what Standard has published here, we can't say that Standard newspaper has given us a wrong story. Maybe they have some source, you know, maybe some insiders in the government who are telling them, you know, the secrets, the plans, you know, concerning these issues. So if at all there are behind the scene plans to, you know, bring cases against Matiangi, because the only way they can deal with Matiangi ni kumletea cases, zile cases zake za kitambo kama ziko, semi ziko, lakini kama ziko ziletwe, aambiwe kwamba wewe unakuwa accused of Rivayala, aletewe stories zingine. That can also work. Ama the likes of Kina Itumbi waanze campaign, digital campaign ya kumchafua Matiangi, mambo ya Rivayala na vitu kama hizo, that Matiangi is a bully, vitu kama hizo ziletwe tu, just to try to, you know, to water down the presidential campaign strength ya Matiangi. So all these things can be brought na iwe Matiangi anamalizwa kisiasa, you know. I don't know, but my thinking is telling me that maybe this deployment of mambo ya pesa kwa State House is part of the strategy to make Matiangi look as if yeye ni mtu ambao hawezi hata kujifinance, because honestly speaking, pesa imemwagwa na, you know, one has to spend also. The kind of campaign ambao tutaona hapa 2027 itashinda 2022 ambao tuliona, whereby bags of millions we used to be taken to the churches. You see, this time round haziendi kwa kanisa. So this time round the strategy has changed. Unakuja State House mnapewa, mnagawanyiwa, mnaenda. That is a new strategy, because church imekuwa ngumu. Ukitoa church pesa unaulizwa kwa nini unatangaza pesa mbona unatoa. That's why Ruto amekuwa akitaka kutoa pesa kanisani, anaambiwa wewe mbona unatoa pesa na unasema umetoa pesa ngapi? Nimetoa pesa hizi, nimetoa pesa zile. Kwa nini useme? Hiyo haitakani kanisani unless ni harambee. So ladies and gentlemen, what do you think about this latest onslaught on Matiangi? Is the government really targeting Matiangi? I think based on this story, the government could be targeting Matiangi. Na Matiangi needs to watch out. Kama kuna any case ambao itamvamia, itabidi mvamie, alafu sikia IEBC inasema kwamba cases cannot allow him to vie for presidency. Maybe that can be done to try to stop Matiangi from ascending to the presidency. Ambiwe kwamba because of cases zako hizi, mimi kama IEBC chair siwezi kuauthorize candidature yako, another person be allowed to vie. Because if that should be done, then the people in Kisii watakasirika kabisa, because they want one of their own to be the president. They won't want to see another candidate vie for presidency. So of course bado kuna changamoto, yes, but that is what is happening, ladies and gentlemen. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you've not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until you catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed. Thank you once again for choosing YOLENO TV as your favorite political channel.